So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to my holidays. Particularly welcome to my honeymoon, I suppose, really, is what it is. But I couldn't let the end of the transfer window pass without coming on to do a little podcast on, I suppose, Aston Villa's woes, triumphs, stagnation, whatever words you want to use to describe this transfer window. I wanted to come on and discuss it because, look, I think today is objectively a step in the right direction, considering, and I'll explain. It's not a massive step, but it's a step nonetheless. For one specific area that we've been crying out for within this team, but there are a hell of a lot of questions to be answered since Sunday and since that Crystal Palace game. But before I get into all that, Damien Vitigani has just put up a tweet on X, an excretion. What do we call tweets now? No, that Twitter isn't Twitter anymore. Is it excretions? I don't know. Anyway, this is what he's put up, and I'm going to have to bring it up my phone because it's tiny on the screen here. And while I'm not getting to the edge for any bifocals yet, I'm getting bloody close to it. It says market finished. We gave all that we had. I'll just make sure everybody can hear me first. We gave all that we had. Unai Monchi, owners, staff, no holidays, no rest. I said in the Mays Awards dinner before Morgan's disallowed UCL goal, it was going to be very challenging, but F hell, I respect every opinion of anyone that loves this football club. We must do better for sure, but let me explain. Genuine expectations are now in a difficult place. In modern football, the key to compete well on the market are not only good virtues like your caliber owners' wishes, abilities or results. The main keys are the revenues, period. To avoid the financial control costs cut, you need revenues. If not, then come the frustrations, as the feeling of the fans is that as much as we win on the pitch, or as much as we win the pitch, as weak or shy or slow we are in the market. Apologies, English isn't obviously Damien's first language, but still, you get the gist of it. He goes on to say the clubs with revenue and no results, they spend fast and spend stronger to wipe us from the top, as it is normal. And to get revenues and break the evil circle, we need Unai owners engaged, success, time, and good players and good business people like Francesco Calvo. But mainly we need togetherness and unity. Up the Villa, I love our Villa staff. So look, I felt that was a bit poignant as well, because underlying a lot of this transfer window has been the PSR first of all, then the SCR, and then everything else that goes with money matters and financial revenue and so on. It's as simple as this. Villa grew their costs before they grew their revenue. They grew their costs significantly under Christian Purslow and Chris Heck, and it needs to be cut now. That's the way it was. I believe that the club and the management have done the job to cut those revenue, to cut those costs, to bring them a lot more in line with revenue. And there's a couple of other things I want to talk about as well with regards to that as well. I feel that their hands have been forced in a lot of ways, but that's the revenue side of things. In the vacuum of the club being able to speak about revenues and of the club being able to discuss, I suppose, about balance sheets and so on, because there are reporting periods and so on, and there are financial regulations and stuff like that where you can't just sign the dotted line at the end of June and come out and basically publish your accounts. You can't do that. They have to be audited. They have to be published afterwards, and there's a period of time that comes. So in that vacuum there's a lot of things that have been filled there. I'm obviously not in the know. I'm not purporting to be in the know. I'm not purporting to have any insight, to have any information other than what I'm told or what people told me. And a couple of things that have gone on, I suppose, in this transfer window, and this is a roundup of everything going back to the end of that Manchester United game. Probably actually going back to January, I would say, is that there's been a lot of conjecture about Ollie Watkins being offered around clubs. There's been a lot of conjecture about Emiliano Martinez being offered around clubs. As far as anyone I've spoken to that has passed on information previously. I believe the Ollie Watkins piece to be truly false in January, that he was not offered to Arsenal. I believe during the course of this off-season, at the start of the off-season, the club were open to selling him should the right offer come in. I don't know how true this is, by the way. I'm not purporting this to be 100% true. I'm just, look, we know we've been through a transfer window whereby in the know stuff and saying something has been 100% gospel has backfired. And look, that's fine. And that's not me having a go at Justin. I'm very good friends with Justin, and I don't know. But look, at the end of the day, it's happened to people before. I'm just saying that's what that's what I heard. I don't know whether it's true or not. I also heard that Emi Martinez was not being hawked around. But the reason I bring those up is that Twitter is aghast with the club of hawked Watkins, club of hawked Emi Martinez. I've heard to the contrary. That's all I will say. I don't know whether it's true or not. Don't know. And the reason I bring that up, apropos of nothing, is that I'm pissed off over the Martinez thing. Before we get into any of the signings that happened, I'm pissed off over it. And I was pissed off over it after Crystal Palace. And I gave him the benefit of the doubt before the Palace game in the Palace preview. I gave him the benefit of the doubt in the transfer podcast we did just before the team sheet tantrum. And then when the tantrum came out, you guys may have picked up on it. The tone was beginning to change for me towards Martinez. I was big up on Bizot, and look, did he give away the penalty? He absolutely did. And then after the game, I was very much despondent at Emi Martinez. And I'm still like, I'm going to take time to be pissed off at Emi Martinez. That's what I'm going to say. But I'm going to take time to be annoyed with him. And the reason I am is because he tried to force that move to Manchester United. And there is, you can dress it up whatever you want. That's the way it is. And it didn't transpire, and they went away and they signed Lemons. And now he's to come back to Villa. But I'm going to say a big but is that contrition is a part of human life. We all make mistakes. We all get through things. We all hopefully come back stronger. And should said contrition happen, should said contrition be apparent amongst the player base. It doesn't matter shit to me or any of you guys, any fans. It shouldn't matter a jot to fans. If you want to put him in the Delph bucket, like I almost had him today in the Delph bucket of like, get out of here, snake. Absolutely do, because you're well within your rights to. But who it really matters to is it matters to the Tyrone Mings who came out and had the pointed statement after the Crystal Palace game. It matters to the John McGinns of the club who has alluded to the likes of Jacob Ramsey going and stuff like that, and he wanting to stay with the club, and that's a completely different matter that I don't know anything about. And it matters to the Unai Emerys of this world as to whether he reintegrates himself into the club. And I think the club would be foolish to rule out anything. But as I say, contrition has to be apparent, and it has to be earned. And look, the Saudi market is still open and the Turkish market is still open. The Saudi market is open until the 12th of September, but I don't see Villa shooting themselves in the foot and going with Marcus Bizot and just having Sam Proctor until January. I think that would be a recipe for disaster, and they're not going to recall Joe Gauchi. So the only thing they can do is to kiss and make up with Emi Martinez. It's the only thing they can do. Like, even if Aston Villa had gone away and signed Tom Heaton today for $250,000, you might think the Saudi thing might have legs for Emi Martinez if you really wanted out of the club. But for my money, I don't think so. I'm going to take time to be annoyed at him. And people will have a completely different way of dealing with this. As I see a big warning come up on my screen here. Apologies. I don't know if you guys can still hear me. Give me a second. Give me a second. Yeah, I can see myself moving again in the screen. Apologies for anybody listening to the audio podcast. That's not going to be great. I don't know how long I was frozen for there. Let me check the comments. And yes, look, Bog, that's a great point. How do we know he was trying to force a move? Well, look, all the reporting is that he was trying to force a move, is what I would say. The fact he didn't play on Sunday leads me to believe that he was looking to move. He was trying to force the club's hand. He wasn't in the right headspace. Something had obviously gone on. And the club had always said they weren't looking to sell him. So I don't believe that. So I think, Ollie Watkins played through the whole lot. I don't think the club were trying to flog Ollie Watkins. I think with Emmy Martinez went it out, but that could be different. Could be 100%. I could be wrong on that. And I don't want to be right on it. Jesus, I really don't want to be right on it because I idolized Emmy Martinez and to be honest with you, I still do. I'm just annoyed at him. We've all had situations whereby you might have a brother or a best friend whereby something happens and you're pissed off at him for 3 or 4 weeks. All of a sudden you kind of go, life's too short. I'm sure that's the way it's going to be, but I'll cheer him every time he puts on an Aston Villa jersey because it's detrimental to my happiness not to. It's detrimental to my it's detrimental to, I suppose, to what I would see as success on any given weekend for me is like Aston Villa win, Emmy Martinez keeps a clean sheet. I don't care if you've got Harold Shipman in goals, but obviously that's crass, but you know what I mean. I really I don't mind if we've got a 15-year-old prodigy in goals that blocks pebbles, or we've got Emmy Martinez in goals. But the fact is that the Aston Villa goalkeeper deserves my support. But I still hold the right to be annoyed with Emmy over not playing at the weekend and how everything has been reported. No, if it all comes out that it's nonsense, 100%. Slate is clean. But and put it this way, maybe Emmy Martinez can come out and say that it was all nonsense. He wasn't forcing a move. But then again, does he shoot himself in the foot with the club if the club were trying to push him out? I don't know. It's all sixes. It's all sixes here. 6s and 7s, should I say here? It's and that's what I mean about it is when you're in a crisis or a perceived crisis, and we were definitely in a crisis, because there's a lack of clarity that you can give when you're in a crisis, because everything is fluid and everything is moving. You can't show your hand and you can't say we've only got 5 million to spend and this is happening and that's happening. We need this to happen before this happens, because people just ratchet up their prices and it becomes an embargo almost straight away if you start showing your hand. And you can't do that in this current scenario. Anything can fill the void, and that's where we are. And I'm guilty of it. I'm 100% guilty of fitting what's filling the void to what makes me comfortable, if that makes sense. And the same thing on Twitter, same thing on social media. But I will come back to the me. I know for a fact I will. You know me, guys. I'm glass half full all the time. I don't like to wallow. I don't like to be self-deprecative. I like to turn on the TV, watch Aston Villa for what they are, and hope they're going to win every weekend. And if Emmy Martinez is the best way for them to win, it's going to be what it is for me. But at the moment, I'm pissed. At the moment, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed because he didn't play, and I'm annoyed because he cried after the Spurs game, and he drew the attention onto this. He drew the attention himself onto this. He did it. And that's what annoys me about it. But I'm willing to forgive, and I'm willing to say I'm wrong as well, because look, that's life. I never want to be right about anything in life. I just want the situation to be clear. That's all I want to be. Anyway, let's forget about Emmy Martinez, because I could talk about him for a week solid. And I know that it's everybody's juggling balls with that at the moment because we don't have clarity on it, and everybody's entitled to feel the way they want to feel about it. I'm just giving you my thoughts on it, and I hope you don't hate me for it, essentially. So let's get back to kind of, I suppose, more positive stuff. That when you think about it, or when I think about it, because you guys are free to think about it whatever you want. When I think about this transfer window, I would ordered a plane at 5 to 10 today, and I put out a tweet saying, give me something good by the time I land, ye delts. And delt, by the way, for anybody who's not Irish, is just like ye blackguards, ye messers, ye whatever. It's a colloquial term. I think that's what it means anyway. If it means anything more aggressive than that, well, I'm not 100% aware of it. Very much a Limerick word as far as I'm aware. Anyway, by the time I landed, we were linked to Willie Masula. We were linked to Colo Muani. We were linked to Harvey Elliott, Jadon Sancho, and obviously the Victor Lindelof thing was announced. But we ended up getting 3 people over the line, essentially. And essentially we got 4 people over the line, but we had to pull out on one because of UEFA's shite, to be honest with you. So the 3 people obviously we got over the line are Victor Lindelof. I've made my feelings clear on him. Doesn't move the needle with me. He's not somebody I'm going to get in the back of my shirt. He's not someone I'm going to. I would imagine if the club signs, if the club sells a shirt with his name on the back of it, the Swedish Lions are in town. That's probably the only reason why, or maybe for his kids or something. Like he's not going to be a needle mover. But what he will be is a steadying head in Europa League action, like Longley was when we needed him in a period of turmoil during the Conference League situation. So that's what he is. He is functional over sexiness, essentially. I'm going to do a breakdown on I'm going to break down the 3 players as well, just because essentially I want to keep putting out podcasts because I like doing them. And, you guys will know all 3 players because we're all part of the Premier League, but I think they all have things to offer in their own special way. Then the next one was Jadon Sancho. Well, definitely, I said it before, and I goes, that's definitely one that's going to be 50-50 or probably even 60-40. 40% of the fan base will go, Unai could definitely get this guy firing again. And 60% of the fan base are going to go, that fucking useless fella from Man United, why are we doing by Man United cast-offs? And again, without seeming like I'm the fella who's afraid to get off the fence and there's splinters in his hole, you're both probably right. At this moment in time, Villa have signed him to see if they can scrub him up, polish the turd into a diamond again. Now, and we will take a look. I'd look at his numbers and I actually watch me on my honeymoon watching clips or watching matches of Jadon Sancho. I watched 2 European games of Sancho. Well, the clips of his games, I'd say it equated to maybe about 45 minutes. And without giving a spoiler alert away for what he's for his scouting series piece, Jadon Sancho is a better player for this football team than Jacob Ramsey was from the point of view of being in attack. We'll leave it at that because I'll do the other podcast on him and explain exactly what I mean about that. But Jadon Sancho has warts as well. Like he's a frog that you could kiss him, he could turn into a prince, or you could just get warts, one or the other. And I don't know what way it's going to go, but the raw talents are there. 25 years of age. Let's see what we can do. There. We need left wing help. He is predominantly a left winger, and we need that help. But the more exciting signing was definitely Harvey Elliott. A lot of people who watch this podcast have messaged me throughout the course of the summer said we should get Harvey Elliott. Fantastic, sparkling under 21. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Fantastic under 21 championship with England, big time player. Scored in quarter-final, semi-final, final, if I'm not mistaken. Has an outstanding statistical output ratio for Liverpool. I mean, like outstanding. Even when you put him up against, now obviously limited minutes, but we put him up against the other Liverpool players that play within that team, the Luis Diaz's, Cody Gakpo's. This guy punches above his weight for his age, and I know he's played in a lot of EFL games, or cup games, should I say, and a lot of probably dead rubber European games and stuff like that, and has maybe come on in some of those games. But the guy's got talent. Harvey Elliott's a talented footballer. He's 22 years of age. We've gotten younger. No matter what way you flip it over, we've gotten younger today in that area, in that attacking area. Because 22 and 25. The guys who come in there are 22 and 25, albeit that it's a loan for Jadon Sancho. Harvey Elliott is a loan with obligation to buy, and he hasn't even scratched the surface on what he can be. The negative on Harvey Elliott is the numbers he put up, and obviously a lot of his footballing education has been done with world-class players in a world-class team, playing in Champions League football, winning titles and so on. As I just see that Fabrizio Romano says there's a buyback clause in Harvey Elliott's contract. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll get to that. I'm only reading that now as it's flashed up my screen. And there we go. I see a picture of Harvey Elliott. It's a done deal. Where was I going with that? Yes, so a lot of his stuff has been done in a generational team in Liverpool last year. I don't care. We often throw around like if you're going to dig out Harvey Elliott, not saying that any of you guys are, because it's been generally positive. Like any of the DMs I've gotten today, any of the text messages I've gotten today from you wonderful people who watch the podcast, and talk about that Harvey Elliott, it's been generally positive. And me too. I'm excited about him as a player. I'm excited. Pace, trickery, technical ability, can take a set piece, can fling one in from 25 yards, scores worldies, is able to drive towards the box, wins penalties. Sign me up. Absolutely sign me up for that. And plays on the right hand side as well. We got a left sider, we got a right sider. All good in that. But if you're going like, I have had one message or two messages actually today that have said, but Harvey Elliott was only able to do it as a in a generational team, a brilliant team with Liverpool. Well, you can't say the trucking that Jadon Sancho is a cast off from Manchester United and can never get any better. If you can say that, if you then turn around and say, well, Harvey Elliott was in a great team, so that makes him a bad player. I don't subscribe to those. I don't subscribe to somebody being a completely busted flush. I don't care if somebody was shit for 10 years. He's capable of having a good 2 years under the right management, under the right nurturing, under the right system, and so on. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it becomes a sparkling story. I think Harvey Elliott is only at the start of his journey. I think a lot of you guys will agree. That's not breaking news. And I think he's coming into a team that needs a spark. And I think he's going to be allowed to be that spark. I think he's going to be allowed to be that catalyst for attacking play. And now watch him be a sub between now and next February. So, but like you know what I mean by that, like, is that he has all the talent in the world, and should he be able to prove it, and should he be able to break into this team, and should he be picked by the manager, I think we're going to see that. And I do think he's going to be picked by the manager. I do, because the comments after the Crystal Palace game were pretty raw from Unai Emery. They were pretty raw, as in, we need to be better. We have to stop, regroup, put a line under this, and come back fresh. He spoke about signings, freshening up this squad, and I think and I can only hope that's what's going to happen. I know he's coming in for a lot of criticism at the moment, Unai Emery. I know Monchi's coming in for a lot of criticism at the moment as well. There's been a lot of things written about Monchi and the age of the squad going up. The squad got younger today. It's undeniable. The squad has got younger today. And that's the start of for me, that's the start of the process. They were looking to get William Asula in as well. 20-year-old striker. Squad have got for even younger again. I was never on board with the squad is getting older part. Yes, if we bought Paqueta and Asensio and so on and so forth, 100%, I would agree with you guys. I always thought there was going to be a sting in the tail. I never thought we were going to get Asensio and Paqueta, number one. I always thought there was going to be a more youthful aspect that was going to come in. I was proven right in that, in the fact that they ended up, whether by design or by fluke or by whatever, going for Jadon Sancho, Harvey Barnes, and then potentially William Asula. And whatever you guys think about Asula's price point, I think the rule about stopping that and about the profit from Ramsey's sale being null and void is just nonsense, anti-competitive nonsense, woke nonsense, whatever you want to call it, absolute nonsense. But anyway, won't get into that. So on the balance of power today, it was headline making, but it was unsexy. until Harvey Elliott signed. I think I might have been calling him Harvey Barnes at some stage. I've had quite a lot of holiday drinks, by the way. Harvey Elliott signed. And I think the signing of Harvey Elliott has to be the catalyst. Now, there's a hell of a lot of pressure on him. Ton of pressure on him. Ton of pressure on Jadon Sancho as well. Specifically after three poor performances this year. But that pressure is for another day. That pressure is not for today. That pressure is not for this week. That pressure is for the day after the Everton game. I think that pressure falls more on Unai Emery. When I say that, it's the pressure on him to make the team perform, as opposed to the pressure on him being ousted and Emery out. And after the game on Sunday, there was a lot of people saying Emery out in our podcast. I'm staunchly not there. I don't think I need to defend my decision of Emery in. I'm just not there. And if people want Emery out, that's fine. You know, I'm just not there. And I won't be there for quite a while yet. But I think the pressure is now on the integration. Can they integrate? Can he integrate them? Can they integrate? And I think that would be forced. I think that by the manager's words, if those words had any meaning after the Crystal Palace game, he will integrate, because I think he sees, I have to do this now. I have to change up, by his own words, by his own admission. But look, time is the only cleanser here with regards to this. It'll cleanse the way we feel on this over time. If these guys start to perform, then we'll talk about this being a good transfer window. At the moment, I will say that I'm non-committal on this transfer window. I speak at if you notice, I've spoken on every single player, every single situation in its own individuality here so far. The Lindelof thing is what it is. The Sancho thing is what it is. That's the reclamation project. If we hit gold on that, we're quids in. The only problem is we don't have an obligation to buy, so do United put an extra 30 million on the side if he scores 15 goals this season, which is unlikely. And then we've got the Harvey Barnes, which I think has got everybody excited. So all in all, look, it's a transfer window all of us want to forget. The uncertainty of it, the unfairness of it. Call it excuses if you want. That's fine. I said it at the very, very, very top end of this. We built our costs before we built our revenues, and that was done 4 years ago, and that's what fucked us up now. And I stand by that. And if somebody has an alternate opinion, that's absolutely fine. I'm not arguing with anybody on that. I just want to be convinced otherwise. But I think the overarching thing from this as well is, which annoys me about a day-to-day, whereby I am excited about Harvey Elliott. I see the functionality of Victor Lindelof, and I want Jadon Sancho to perform well, because he is an Aston Villa player, is that column inches from here to Christmas will be about Emiliano Martinez. And I need to see his contrition and his reintegration into this team, because the man was an icon for Aston Villa, and it's never nice for anything like this to end, and people will be hurt. All I have to do is open up Twitter, type in his name. People will be hurt. I'm hurt. But then again, I don't know the full truth. I'm willing to change my opinion on him, should I be convinced of a different truth, or the actual truth, should I say, because I don't know if what I've heard is true. And it's a bit shite, because at the end of the day, when you have a transfer window whereby I genuinely think that if somebody thinks that we haven't solved the issue of pace, power, direct carrying of the ball, and a bit of trickery in attack, which you've been missing in the two players that we've brought in, albeit they may not be your favourite players, the cloud still comes from the fact that we have the fact that there were so many column inches written about Emiliano Martinez, and there will be more to come. And we have to relive this over and over and over again until probably January, probably June, maybe never again. Maybe there's a healing of the rift, if there was a rift. Maybe there's a healing of the waters, whatever it is. But it's just a shame. It's a shame when you've hugged as a fan, you've kind of thrown your arms around a player like that for so long, that the vacuum creates the divergent truths, if you want to call it, because we don't know what the actual truth is. And we have a fan base who have to feel like this, and it's not nice. And it's done due to a system that I don't agree with, and also like you've also got a system there as well whereby you've got what I'd love if somebody could go back and count how many tweets Ben Jacobs did about Emiliano Martinez. I'd like to know if you could count how many tweets Fabrizio Romano did about Emiliano Martinez. Like the transfer window machine and complex essentially that it is has become very very almost transparent in this transfer window about what it's there for and how open to manipulation social media has made fans' views of watch me now go down the tinfoil hat route here. But fans' views of certain transfers are being manipulated on social media, and they absolutely are. Look, you guys just go back through Fabrizio Romano's tweets today. I've had Fabrizio Romano on the podcast. I've spoken to him as recently as 6 months ago. He's a great guy, but he put out 20% off link for Boohoo Man today. He tweeted between 5 and 7 today. He tweeted Paddy Power sponsored posts. That's not what the transfer window should be about, but it is. And the transfer window has become Love Island for men. That's very crass because men can love Love Island if they want. No problem with it. I used to watch it for a while. I just got too samey. But it's become reality TV for men and women. Sorry, because I know women love football too. But you know what I mean. Jesus, I'll tie myself in knots here. You know what I mean. And it's just a 24-hour influence stream on Twitter and social media. And look, hey, I perpetuate it here on the podcast as well, potentially, but I do it from a position of essentially good faith in the fact that I just love doing scouting series and stuff like that on players, see how they fit in with fella. But look, that was my little bit of a philosophical kind of take on transfer windows and how they're changing, and that was my bit of an old man screams at the clouds moment. But you guys will forgive me that. You'll forgive me that every so often to go off piste and off topic a small bit. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. But what I will do is I will ask you guys to, I suppose, look, it's a couple of, and I'll be coming back with a Jed and Sancho podcast. I'll be doing a Elliott podcast and Victor Lindelof. I'll pre-record them. I'll put them out over the next few days. Scouting series as such. But I think we all deserve a little bit of an unplug from football over the next few days. And I think that it's a case whereby, you know, life is bigger than football, and we've often said this before, myself and Paddy, that football is the most important, the least important things, but there's nothing we can do between now and the Everton game. It's been and the real reason I'm saying this is it's been a pretty rotten start to the year for Aston Villa fans. So, you know, it's as Unai Emery said, we'll regroup, we'll come back together, and we'll have a freshness after the transfer window, and hopefully that will be the case. And that's what I'll be doing as well, unless there's any overarching news that breaks. A lot of the stuff I'll be doing will be pre-recorded with regards to the signings that we've brought in, and we'll take a bit of a slower pace on podcasts between now and even with Villa AM. I'm going to give that a break while I'm away as well, guys. I was going to do it every night, but unless I change my mind in the morning, which I want to do, as you guys know, I'll take a bit of a break of it. We've been full on. I think every Aston Villa fan, it's been a full on transfer window. We've been bombarded with information, misinformation, misdirection, whatever the case may be, conjecture and half truths. I think we all just need a reset. Well, I need a reset. You guys can do what you want, but I need a reset from it. And I put out a couple of podcasts on the guys that we've signed, and should anything else break in the meantime. But I want to say thanks a million to everybody for all the kind words over the transfer window, and the podcasting that we did. And like, we had our biggest month ever because of Villa AM, and that will be coming back. Trust me, it will. Just being here in Spain is a bit difficult, and I want to enjoy this with the family. But if I get lonely and I need to come out at any stage, you guys will always be here. But yeah, as I say, tough transfer window. But we kind of came out of it relatively unscathed, if you think about it. And we have these three new additions to hopefully bolster the squad. So we'll see what happens from here on in. Thanks a million, everyone. I'm getting looks from this side here because I think I'm keeping everybody up here in the accommodation park. So I'm going to leave it at that. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, regardless of what happens, up the fella.